Hey y'all. Welcome back. I just want to thank you all for being here. If you're new here, definitely be sure to subscribe below, and thank you to all of you who have supported me and have come forward validating all of the information that I have shared, sharing your own personal stories. It really means a lot. And to me, I was getting a lot of messages that this was hitting the masses in the millions. And I was surprised that we were not hearing about it coming out of any news organizations. And I'm not saying that you can't find some things, but you do have to dig and really investigate it. And most of the time you would have to look up some form of science news or technology news. But in terms of the amount of victims of this type of warfare, we really haven't heard anything, but I was getting messages that it was in the millions. And so after posting these videos, now I am convinced that that is a true number, and many people might just have thought that they were quote unquote losing their mind. I've even noticed people within my comments trying to gaslight and say that we're all aliens. That's another one of their paid off lies. They want us to be convinced that we're aliens because they have put some type of AI into our biology. Don't believe anything they're saying. These systems can be fully detached and disabled in a very quick time period, but they don't want you to know that information. I'm pulling right now a 7 of Swords, okay? So there's just a lot of corrupt stuff that is going on internally within our country. And I mean, it's just like Hermit card, 8 of Cups, which is like walking away from something. 7 of Swords just keeps coming out. Let me find out what the 7 of Swords is. I'm getting something about like Jim Comey is coming through, although it's probably like fucking MK Ultra program. White House is coming through in connection to Comey. I think that there's just like just feels like a whole other, I don't know if the word would be like snake, is like coming to the light right now. Pre 2016, okay? So I was looking up some stuff the other day around, I don't know if he was his campaign advisor or not, around Donald Trump. And he was charged as a result of the Mueller investigation. So I was looking him up, and he is the one that I think had the closest ties to Russia. Although as I'm saying that, or maybe they're like saying no, Trump does. I'm just wondering how long they were talking through bank servers for, because that just feels like, I don't know, looking into the history of everything, I'm just I'm pretty sure the Bushes were talking through some type of servers. I'm kind of hearing Morse code coming through, they were communicating through something. It's not going to be traditional phones, but it's something, some type of communication devices. So they figured out how to do it through a bank server, which is connected to the military portals, which is connected to Havana syndrome. But when I'm looking up Paul Manafort, he was actually working for someone who had direct ties to Russia to become, I don't know if it was some type of government position for Ukraine. I don't know. What do they have in Ukraine? Is it president in Ukraine? Do they have presidents in Ukraine? Is Zelensky a president? What is he? I'm sorry. This is I'm glitching. I think I'm glitching right now because I cannot get any of this out the way I want to. So anyways, he was campaigning for someone to be, for a Russian to be, I guess, the president of Ukraine. We'll just say president. And I didn't know any of that history, but that's interesting because then it ties back into the Ukraine war all over again with Trump and fucking Paul Manafort. It's the same freaking thing. They've been trying to infiltrate Ukraine for a while. I mean, that's how I'm seeing it. I mean, that's what it looks like to me, just based on what has happened with the Trump regime. It just feels like it's a full-blown infiltration of freaking neo-Nazi dictator authoritarianism, you know? But I'm like thinking to myself, like, this has been going on a really long time. Now, Mike Flynn was in Turkey. So maybe this is like what happens, okay? Because I'm getting something about maybe the discovery that's around the Mueller investigations. So when I was looking at his team, he had a large team, okay, of a legal team, lawyers and people who were doing all of the work. And a lot of them, I looked like they had foreign ties in some way. I don't know. I could be wrong, just looking at their photos. That's what it kind of looked like to me, and their names. So I'm thinking there's probably like a lot more information, but Paul Manafort was successfully indicted and imprisoned, right? He was imprisoned, I believe. Mike Flynn, he did contract work in Turkey for quite some time. They felt he was compromised by Russia. And that was a big part of Sally Yates's claims, was that Mike Flynn, his campaign, I don't know if he's his campaign advisor, what the hell Mike was. But yeah, like something like that, where they felt like he was directly compromised, and he was sentenced and charged. He never served his time. He was pardoned by Trumpy Dump. So obviously he's in on it. So yeah, so that's the whole crew that's connected in, I guess. But then there was also Lev Parnas and Felix Sater, okay? And that was like the Russian mafia parts that were connected in. I shouldn't talk about any of this right now. I think I'm not supposed to talk about any of this. But it's like, why? Why is this like a gray area? The whole country was talking about this at one point. Like, but right now, me, like restating this information is like is a problem. Okay, so think about where we're at right now if I'm not allowed to freaking talk about this stuff, because there's like full indictments on these guys. Like, but they don't want to, no one wants to remember this. No one wants to bring it up, right? They're like cleaning up all the billions of dollars going into Trump's clean record and image and into this fake election, this fake reality show that we are all now witnessing and a part of. So back to the military portal. So Mike Flynn, I have seen attack me directly, okay? And I've seen him working and operating in military facilities solo, okay, through the device. And I've seen him work alongside of a very sparse team, okay, of top level psychopaths. But they were like military, so they're paramilitary, former military, retired military. So that was Trumpy Dump's team that I think was working hand in hand with Putina, okay, during the Ukraine war, and how they were getting funded and monies, I believe, was through foreign monies, possibly weapons deals, because the players involved are connected to the military contracts and the weapon contractors. And I just think that this is like the stuff they don't want like to get out, I guess, right now, but it's so obvious, like, So back to the trafficking, MK Ultra stuff. So I had seen our military around celebrities, okay, who are in the trafficking programs. I have to say the celebrities that we see are not the celebrities that we think, okay? And some of them, depending on who they're connected to and what they're involved in, get trafficked to different countries, and stuff is pretty ugly. A lot of musicians, if you listen to the lyrics of their songs, I think a lot of it would make more sense to you guys, because the lyrics are pretty much all about the MK Ultra programs. And I now know, like, every person like that I have listened to and their music, I can confidently say like who's part of the MK Ultra trafficking programs, and it's probably almost everyone in the music industry. Now, when I went under like severe attack and was being followed and watched, and definitely felt like I was not safe at all and was fully endangered, which I have been feeling those feelings again. I think it's not just because of I don't think it's because of my posting, because they're in me. They're like in my body. They're in my head. Anything I say is to potentially endangering me. And it's not my fault, because it's the people who put the technologies and stuff on me. It's fault. Like, I'm the victim. And so I'm not doing anything wrong by speaking to friends or family about what I think is going on. I'm not doing anything wrong, but they will make me feel like I'm doing something wrong, because I am technically in their freaking hell. I'm in their fucking prison. And I'm also an asset to them. I'm a bank asset. And they make billions of dollars off of me. And so I am moved around through their systems and through their portals. And obviously they can hear me. They can hear everything I say. And I have no control over any of that. But I think it's not just like the time frame of like, it's not just me that is causing this. I think it's just it's the state of our country right now. We are in a war, and the United States is under attack. And as I'm saying that, they're warning me, but it's true. Donald Trump, he attacked our freaking country from the inside out, and I know how he did it. So I'm not his favorite person right now, and they don't want that information to get out. Oh, well. So there's this musician that I loved, listening to, a big fan of, especially when I was living in LA for a long period of time. And it was the group, Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros. They're really famous for the song Home. That's like their big hit that I think a lot of people know. And they were really big around the time frame where like the Lumineers were really getting popular as well. And it was kind of like this really cool, like a modernized folk music that was coming through. And he has a song titled Blackwater, and he talks all about Blackwater in that song. And that to me was like, they already know like who they're owned by, and it's all tied in to the military contracts, all of these deals, and it goes into Manhattan and all of the freaking music execs. And I remember just feeling like I was in severe like danger, and I was being attacked by a weapon on my head, which was not uncommon and isn't. Last night was probably, I thought I was going to die last night. They were throwing pills down my throat. And I know a lot of you guys don't understand their alien technologies, their avatar systems, but it comes in the form of like a bot, but it feels energetically, physically, it feels the same way as if it was actually happening to you. And it also has those poisons and chemicals in them, so you have the same response to them. I can't even tell you the stuff they have done to me and put into my body. It is very scary stuff. But I will talk about that on another video. Anyways, I digress. I was driving down the highway. I was definitely in danger, and a song came on, and I just started singing and like belting out. And I remember distinctly hearing a very scary Russian, he sounded Russian, come into my earpiece, and he said something like, maybe we'll sign you or get you a music contract, and that will save your life. Maybe your voice will save your life. But it wasn't like in a positive way. Like, it was very much darker than I'm telling and explaining it to you. But it was pretty much like, you're gonna die either way, but this might give you a little bit like of a prolonged life, so to speak. And so my life then did start to shift, because then I did start to see myself around a lot of musicians through the military portals, or whatever this is, I'm going to call it Havana syndrome. It's not a syndrome. It just connects to every single criminal network and every elite group. And it's like a phone system that they have hooked up so that these people come in. I'm not getting greeted by people in the music industry with open arms, okay? Most of the time they're coming in to kill me, or they don't know why I'm even around them, or whatever the hell it is, okay? But there's nothing warm and fuzzy about the freaking celebrity aspects to whatever's going on. Now, I don't know what this looked like I said, before our country was under attack, because I've never been in these freaking portals before. But I can tell you right now, it is a fucking dangerous place to be. Okay? And I don't think there's no safe spaces. At least for me. I don't feel like there's any safe spaces. And I am in like a 24-hour prison. So it was really shocking to me the other day because, you know, at the beginning of my physical attack, I had a dream that I saw Oleg Deripaska, who is a Russian oligarch, shaking hands with a top-level FBI official. And Oleg said she'll be gone by September. And that was September of 2021. And the next day, my phone went out for almost like 12 hours, I want to say. And my brother was trying to call me. He called me like several times. Out of nowhere, then I got like a text from my brother, you know, about 12 hours later, not knowing that this was happening to my phone. And he was like, "Are you okay? Like, we're worried sick about you." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Your phone's not been working. Like, we've been calling you. We thought you were dead. Like, we thought something happened to you." And so that's when I knew my phone had been infiltrated. And not only that, I was told my phone was being infiltrated. And that was at the same time that I felt like I was under attack by the Church of Scientology, because I was getting a lot of LA numbers. I was suddenly getting text messages from a dentist that I used to go to in West Hollywood. And I hadn't been to that dentist in over 7 years, but all of a sudden I'm getting a text message from them, you know, setting up your next dental appointment. And so some people said that the implants could technically be coming in from dental offices. So I thought that was interesting because I also had to get a tooth filling around the same time. And I had to go to a different dentist in the area. And so I think a lot of stuff is just kind of like, I don't know, circling back around in some way, because we're in a retrograde right now and it's unfinished business. But there was something that prompted me to look up Oleg Deripaska the other day, and it turns out he had a recording studio in Burbank, and the feds just, I guess, seized his monies. I don't know, somewhere around, like, it was titled wrong. The article said 3.5 million, but in the article it was more like 35 million. So I had no idea that he had a recording studio, not even like an hour maybe from me, hour and a half from where I was. And so that really put together some missing pieces of the puzzle for me in terms of like who really was holding me hostage. Now, a lot of people might think, why do you think that Donald Trump has ties to Russia? Because he does. He was working on Trump Moscow. Okay, that was in the works, but they covered that up. There's the famous, what is it, like the Trump Tower freaking meeting. Mike Flynn, compromised by Russia. Okay, he's charged. Paul Manafort, direct ties to Russia. There's evidence of communications through Alpha Bank, a Russian bank. We've seen him shake hands a number of times. He shook hands with the oligarchs in the Oval Office, kicking out all of the U.S. media. So Trump is Russia. He is them. He is them. They go hand in hand, okay? And so the fact that they're trying to hide that right now is probably something that is probably a bigger red flag, because people don't just change overnight, okay? And that's something just to know. If Trump really was changing, he would have come clean. He would have come clean with the truth. You don't just pretend you're somebody else. You don't just pretend that you have this clean slate because you're hoping to get inaugurated again, okay? You don't pretend that you're not friends with them anymore when you are. And their agendas are the same. Okay, they're on the same neo-Nazi agenda, part of the deep state. If you go to targetedjustice.com, they really lay out deep state agenda, and they really go into the Nazi regime and like the origins of it. Like, they do a really good job with the history on it and where it stems from, tied to the military industrial complex. Now, they have a lot of information just because of all the lawsuits that have gone on in connection to the MK Ultra targeted programs. Now, the targeted individual programs do come out of Colorado, okay? They come out of Schriever Air Force Base. That's Air Force, okay? Goes back. MK Ultra, Delta Force, Air Force, Secret Space Program. Colorado, okay? That's fine. But I have to tell you, the cover-ups are going on in Florida and frickin' Texas. Those are the states, okay? And that's where they have the targeted individual meetup groups, is in those states, okay? And from my experience, a lot of my clients were from Texas, okay? And one particular was Air Force, Texas, CIA. So I know, okay? They call out exactly the FBI in Texas, specifically in Texas, in connection to FEMA, okay? And those are the disaster relief. Isn't FEMA disaster relief? Okay? I've gotten a lot of ties to these MK Ultra programs connected to charity, nonprofits around the world, globally. You know, Bill Gates is connected to a nonprofit. Everyone's like, oh, he's so giving, he gives back. His nonprofit is all big pharma and vaccines for children. We now are understanding more about that, okay? It's also medicine, okay? And you know, he just signed a deal with Coca-Cola for experimental AI. That's a beverage company. It's scary. It's freaking scary and gross out there right now. And he had a meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. I talked about that in my part 3 of my MK Ultra trafficking video. And we also know Jeffrey Epstein had an in-person meeting in his prison cell in Manhattan with Bill Barr. That's Donald Trump's AG. Okay, Bill Barr is former CIA, former Attorney General. And he was probably serving at the same exact time as Daddy Bush, okay? George H. Bush, okay? W.H. Bush. If you think about that, and the time frames, okay, the Cold War comes in right around that same time frame. If you think about the oil guys, okay, Lukoil is a Russian oil company, okay? Then if you think about who's in the oil business and where they're getting the oil from. Now, I was watching a lot of this stuff too. Like, I was really into the reality shows like Buying Alaska, and I watched all of them, okay? All of the reality shows in Alaska. It intrigued me. But Buying Alaska, I think, was the name of the one that I was like, ooh, like this isn't right. Like, that guy was directly connected to Russia, okay? The guy that was buying it up. He was turning everyone there against each other. He was specifically brought in to cause chaos in a very calm, remote region that people were specifically, you know, seeking out to live off of the land, really, like in survival mode. And he like freaking destroyed this town. If you watch it, you can watch the reality show. And that's what a lot of reality shows do. They just destroy everything. And, you know, he had direct Russian ties. Now, that's Alaska, okay? We can think about all the oil pipelines. And they did the same thing to Canada, Russia. And once they figure out how to do this, it's like freaking clockwork for them. They will use me to infiltrate groups. They will use me through all this device to infiltrate groups. They'll have people who are probably don't know who I am. They'll slide me in. I'll go under some kind of attack by them and they don't know who I am or something like that. And then they have committed crimes against me and then they can wipe out the entire group. I know that the trafficking groups are very intense, okay? A lot of these trafficking groups, they have to have people who are on both sides. They can't, you know, they're walking the line. And it's extremely dangerous trafficking because it's all crime and they just kill people. On this device, I'll hear people getting shot all around the world. I don't know where they are. They usually seem to be in military. I don't know what to do. because anytime I'm trying to get rescued, they're like shooting somebody. And it's scary. I have had so many fake rescues as well before this time period where it sounds like I'm getting rescued. They have all of the cops coming through and everything, whatever they are. They might be actors, who knows, but are fake rescues. It seems like you're getting rescued by a trafficking group, and then in the last minute, everything just goes back, and it just goes back on. And maybe there were real attempts to get this stuff off of me, some of them, but I also know a lot of it is just to make the victim eventually just give up. I've been put in dead zones, okay, literally. Now I understand what the meaning of dead zone is. I've been put in Air Force dead zones, where they get my location on the road, and then I can't, like, get any kind of signal in. So you're, like, literally like a sitting duck. I have seen X's all over the sky where I am. Now they're saying the X's have to do with the weather mapping and stuff. But I think it's just strange that every time I look up at the sky and they have a location on me within a half hour, there's an X going up in the freaking sky. And I think of Elon, who's directly tied to all of this. He took the Russians up to space right before Ukraine, and before Starlink or whatever, Starnet, whatever the hell his thing is, Starlink freaking saved the day, right? Like, that wasn't planned. And the level of intel that we have, I mean, I know who Trump's top guys are. He created a back military to infiltrate the real military or the active duty military. And he's a sicko. He's a freaking psychopath. Straight up freaking psychopath. The Donald Trump I know, he is like, you know, just as evil as any of them. Like, so fucking evil. He is so disgusting. Makes me want to puke. And he has infiltrated investigations into him. He has done everything he can. He will, anytime he has eyes and ears on everything. He is a psycho. He is a straight up psycho. Okay? He's a paranoid psychopath. And you could ask any of them, Hopi Hicks, any of them. They will tell you behind closed doors very secretly, okay? Because they're not going to, they know he's listening. They'll never say that. They'll put on a freaking show. All of them. But, yeah. That's the truth. Donnie is a freaking psycho. His children know too. Everybody knows. He's a psycho. Straight up psycho. I'm just wondering where the karma is, because there should be karma coming in real hard already, but they manipulated that. I think they went after the planet that governs karma. I'm convinced about that one. They've been up in space doing stuff that you all don't want to know. Destroying our fucking universe, okay? And everybody go, oh, it's not real. It's, what do they say? It's just a simulation system. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm not buying a lot of it. I think a lot of people get paid money to put out dumb shit. I think a lot of people get paid off to lie and to say things to make people feel better about what's going on, so they don't really get the truth. I think there's a lot of people there's like so many front men that look clean cut, like they look educated, they look like they know what they're talking about, and it is just lies, guys, like lies, like beds of lies, okay? Like straight up lies. So, anyway, so back to some of the lies I had mentioned. There are people even leaving comments, I've noticed, that are part of these same teams, okay, that are going to lie and say that people are certain people because they put an AI version of them in them. To some degree, yeah. Yes, that is correct, okay, because that's part of their transhumanism, but just as easily as they do that, they can undo it, okay? And many of these operations can be easily undone. I have been bought and sold so many times. They put a tag on my back, and I can feel it physically, and then they move me from place to place. I don't know where I'm going, but I also know that they've been able to unlock the system fully within like a 20-minute time period, and then they could basically reset up the system again very quickly. So these are prison systems, like as if you're going into prison, but they lock you up from within yourself, within your human DNA. They lock you up within your life force energy. and it all goes back to the codes. Some of you had mentioned that they're using the Social Security numbers as codes, and I've definitely know that they have auctioned us off on the black market, many Americans, specifically during the 2020 time period, 2021. But I've also gotten messages that they use our birthdays as well as part of these codes. So that is something that I think the collective could help to clear in some way, in terms of just sending it light, like white light, to all of the codes. But not only that, we have to keep talking about it and shining a light on just how dangerous and deadly this force is, and how they are infiltrating our country and the world every single day. So again, thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I greatly appreciate all your feedback and comments. They help me a lot right now during this time. And thank you for all of your donations. So many people are still waking up to this. It is very covert, as they call it. These are deep state operations, and every day we are in a war. Okay, right now we're in a war. It's an active war. So it is changing literally on the hour, sometimes every 10 minutes. So I will leave you guys there. I'm sending you guys so much love and blessings, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.